Hey everybody, welcome back to Under the Loupe. My name is Marco Nicolini, filming on behalf with Grand Caliber. Today we're going to review 3 watches that I'd love to show you guys that came in that are very, very amazing examples. So the first example I want to show you guys is quite a unique piece. It is the Audemars Piguet 4100 ST. The 4100 ST comes right after the 5402, so it definitely borrows a lot of the same design elements that Gerald Genta intended for this watch. This watch was introduced roughly in around 1978, whereas the 5402 is really early 70s. And one thing you'll notice between the 5402 and the 4100 ST is the center seconds that you get with the 4100 ST, because 5402s do not have center second hands. So if you want to take a closer look at this watch, one thing that's going to stand out is the dial just looks completely messed up, and it's actually not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It is simply a tropical dial. To be honest, I can't tell if this was black or blue at one point, but it has turned into a very nice crispy brown color, which just gives it such an elegant look, such an aged and rustic look, which is extremely desirable among collectors. You know, a normal one of these watches would typically go for maybe the low 20s, maybe mid 20s, but due to the fact that this watch has such a unique look to it and a very desirable factor to it, this watch is going to be up into the $35K range, just depending on specs. This one comes as watch only, so we are asking around $30,000 for this one. So you can find it available for sale on our website. When I first handled this watch, it really stood out very small to me until I compared it to a Datejust, and I'll show you guys real quick. As this watch is a 36 millimeter, but it feels much smaller if you're not handling something else that's also a 36. So if you compare this to my Datejust, you can see that they're clearly both the same size, but the reason you get such a, and this is something to pay attention to when you're looking at watches, especially smaller watches, and you want them to feel a little bigger, always pay attention to the dial, because the dial is really what's going to make the watch feel bigger or smaller. In this case, the 4100 ST is going to feel smaller than the Datejust because there's more steel surrounding the dial, which makes the dial smaller, versus this 36 millimeter Datejust, which has way more dial presence on it than this watch does. So therefore you're going to get kind of a larger feeling watch on the Datejust versus the AP, which of course, you know, another thing that also, in my opinion, makes a watch feel a little bit smaller is when they have integrated bracelets to the case. So that means this all flows into one, as Gerald Genta designed it to do so. So you'll see that the bracelet just kind of blends right into the head of the watch. I mean, it is an integrated design, but that also, in my opinion, kind of makes the watch feel a little smaller, as the bracelet doesn't taper much smaller than the whole case. So another thing that I like about this watch is just how thin it is. It is extremely thin for an AP Royal Oak. As you look at the side profile, it is extremely thin. It will hug the wrist perfectly tight. As the case itself, it's a sandwich design, so obviously these screws do function as part of the design element to keep the watch together and secure. As you can see, the front of the watch and the back of the watch have the screw placement in the exact same space to keep that case back on. So if you were to take this case back on, in theory, the bezel and the crystal would also come apart, and then you would have the movement come out as well. And this one wouldn't have a clear back in those days, as you would simply just have a Royal Oak case back, and that's it. It's just engraved. That is going to be it for the 4100 ST. If you're interested in this watch, it is available for sale on our website, www.grandcaliber.com. Feel free to check it out. The next watch we have is a very interesting piece. This is kind of a watch that survived the test of time and has never really been polished, which I love seeing examples like this. And that is going to be a 16613 complete box set. The reason it's in this pouch, I'll apologize for that, is simply because it has one of those notorious pillows that just completely shed every time you look at it. If you look at it wrong, it explodes. If you see it wrong, anything you touch this box, it's one of these pillows. As you can see, it's just a complete mess. You never want to put anything in it anymore. So what I do is I always keep them closed, put them in there, and I'll put the watch in a pouch like here to keep everything separated. As you can see, there's already dust going everywhere. So it has the original hang tag. This watch was serviced at one point in its life, has the original papers, and it's an X serial, so it's around in 1991. You have the original booklets. which is just really cool. And we'll take the watch out of here and talk about it a little bit. So as you guys know, for the 16613, there's roughly what I'd call 3 variations of them that saw major updates. This is going to be the earliest variation of this watch. So the earliest variation of a 16613 is going to include the tritium dial and the stainless steel buckle. So it doesn't glow anymore, obviously, as it's tritium. It's faded off. It is now just turned into, you know, substance that no longer does anything for this watch other than look pretty. Sometimes you want them to age so it turns a nice yellow or orange, but this one has turned an off-white cream color, which is beautiful, along with that blue dial. The dial is turning purple, which is kind of cool. So a lot of these 16613s have turned into a very vibrant purple, which this one hasn't got there yet. But for this era, they do turn really tropical, and they turn very, very attractive. They turn into a very attractive purple look, which just looks insane. It's kind of like a Joker purple. It's like very, very, very bright. But this one's kind of like 50-50. It's blue and purple, depending on how you look at it. And what I'm talking about, so if you look at the back of this watch, it has the old buckle. So it is normal for them to have the two-tone paired with the steel. That is the earliest variation of it. And then the second generation of 16613s gained a solid end link bracelet with the gold through clasp. So they actually ran the gold through. I believe Rolex just kind of capped gold onto the surface of this buckle, because if we were to look at it gold through and you look to the bottom side, it is not gold, it is stainless steel. And then the final variation of the 16613 gained solid end links, obviously, as from the previous generation, and then the no holes case with the bezel engraving. There's going to be the mid generate, like I'd say like the middle of the third generation of these don't have the bezel engraving, but right at the end, right before Rolex discontinued this model, it would have a bezel engraved gold through no holes case, and it would have a card and not a paper. So you wouldn't have this anymore. You would have more of a factory Rolex green card. So that's kind of the last hoorah for the 16613 before it's discontinued for the 16613. And as you can see, it's just in really nice unpolished condition. The bracelet is obviously very, very strong. A lot of them by this time, because the gold links are weaker than the steel links, they tend to stretch, but this one has almost no stretch. I think it was worn for maybe 6 months, maybe a year tops, and then put away. I mean, it still has the green factory hologram sticker on the back that is faded to just a solid green sticker. So that's pretty much it for this watch. It runs great, it keeps good time, and it's still doing what it does best. You know, and that's look amazing for a 16613. So if you're interested in something like this, you can find it on our website. Market price right now for stuff like this could be around 12 to 13,000, but we've got ours priced fair to move around 10.5. So if you're interested, check it out. It should be on our website. And the next watch we have to show you is gonna one up this watch a little bit, so we'll get right into that. So for the final watch of this video, this one's gonna top the last watch you guys just saw. This one takes the cake. It is a 16610 LV Kermit, but it's not just any Kermit. And I'll tell you this much right now, no, it's not a flat 4, I know. But it is still just as special in its own way, and that is going to be a true new old stock 16610 with the original hang tags hanging right off of it. So if you look carefully at this watch, one thing you'll notice right away is it's never been polished. The stickers have never been removed from this watch, and the hang tags have never been removed from this watch. It is still all there, original from day one. This watch has never really ever been worn, besides maybe tried on at the dealer at best. But this is a true fine specimen of a watch, because it is extremely rare to find any of these 5-digit subs that have never ever been worn. A lot of them you see on Chrono are just sitting there at crazy high prices, but they don't move because, you know, that whole genre of collectors that are looking for true new old stock just aren't paying as high as they were back in their, you know, early 2020, 2021 era. But this one particularly still is in incredible condition. Beyond that, it's just brand new, but what I like about it is that it also has that factory sticker with the protective sticker over it as well. So I mean, this is just an incredible find. This watch was bought in Houston on our last trip down there. That was if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. You'll see a bunch of other really cool watches those guys had. But yeah, this is just a really cool piece. It is off market for the time being. Have not put it up on the website yet, but if you're interested, just feel free to PM me. off of Instagram or wherever. If you see it on this video, then, you know, get a hold of us. But kind of keeping this one back, you know, I might want to try to keep it. I might sell it to the right buyer. Not really in a rush to try to move this piece, so it's just going to stay off the website for now, because I do enjoy having it on hand, especially when it comes time to having a really cool conversation with our walk-in customers, and we get to show them some cool stuff that just kind of lives in the safe. So this one will live in the safe for the time being, but of course, like anything else, it is for sale. Yeah, so what you would have found back in 2007 is just 3 booklets, and of course Rolex famously has always included this white random piece of paper just to divide the warranty papers for some reason, I'm not sure. But this watch was sold brand new in Minnesota. Aren't you from Minnesota?
Wisconsin.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Full set in its glory. All hang tags, box papers, booklets, the whole 9 yards. Only thing we're missing is the receipt. But that's okay. Most likely they kept it, which I don't blame them. As anytime we get watches in that have receipts, we always kick them back to the customer, and we just tell them we don't want your receipts because we don't want to get you in trouble somehow, some way that ends up in the wrong hands. All right, that's a wrap. This guy's over here hitting all the lights. Oh, and a quick wrist check in case you guys want to know what I'm personally wearing today. I am wearing a 16030 Tiffany & Co. Datejust that is just in extremely mint condition. This is a personal purchase for me this year, and I hope to make a few more purchases this year for me personally, because I'm trying to stack up a small little humble watch collection. So this didn't break the bank too bad, but it's a beautiful watch nonetheless. It is like truly mint, unpolished. It's just, you know, when you find stuff like this, you get kind of, you know, overly excited, just want to keep it, and that's kind of what happened with me. I just got too excited, saw it, fell in love with it, and decided this is my watch. And it's been excellent ever since. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for me. And until next time, we'll see you then.